I can get the shorter cord. Cause it's right there. You can get the longer cord.
Look, he finna be texting like this.
I'm good right here. Look, the cord. He finna be texting like that.
That's not the music cord. The music cord is a short right.
The Bryce Sheriff's Office is accused of inhumane treatment and constitutional rights violations in a new lawsuit filed on his behalf, which Ynw Melly believes will get him out of jail. The lawsuit claims that the rapper, whose real name is Jamal Demons, has been unable to see or communicate with any of his family members for the past 3 years due to accusations of killing 2 of his childhood friends in 2018. I can get the shorter C cuz right there, and you can get the longer court look where he will say, I'm good right here, but look, that's not the case. The time has finally come for Ynw Melly to be released from prison after spending several years in his cell, according to a report. The Broward County Sheriff's Office has been given a week to respond to a judge's order explaining why Ynw Melly shouldn't be released from jail. If they don't, Melly could be home by December 6th. This comes shortly after Jamie King, the mother of Ynw Melly, announced a new lawsuit claiming that Melly is suing the Broward Sheriff's Office for cruel treatment and is seeking immediate release from prison. Melly also says that they haven't let him see or talk to his family in 3 years. It's been said that Melly has been living in a freezing jail cell in a cell block without any food or human contact. An interview from Ynw Melly's mother was shared, and it shows a disturbing picture of Melly's life in jail, giving the impression that he won't be around for long because she was furious that Ynw Melly had a mistrial in his. He essentially won the first trial, but despite this, he's still denied basic rights. He is not allowed to leave jail, make phone calls, or even check his own mail. My son hasn't been convicted of anything yet, and yet he's being treated in a way that even other prisoners who have been convicted of crimes aren't. These prisoners who are serving time for their offenses still have the right to use phones and correspond with their loved ones through letters. Yet, they continue to withhold his mail, and he's unable to even read the letters or messages from his family. Ron White, a prominent figure, commented on this situation, essentially saying that Ynw Melly, the individual in question, shouldn't be granted any special privileges. White argues that, given the nature of the crime Melly is accused of during the Ynw Melly, he should be treated in this manner. While I understand the anger surrounding the accusations, the lack of humanity in his treatment cannot be overlooked. Yes, I understand that some people feel a sense of justice when someone accused of such a horrific crime is subjected to this harsh treatment, and there may even be some who feel that he deserves it. However, I believe that we must always be mindful of the rights and dignity of individuals regardless of their accusations. I must admit that it's challenging for me to accept what is happening. It feels as though he is being punished before the trial has even been concluded. But even more disturbing is the sense that he's being stripped of his basic human rights in a way that feels almost like a deliberate attempt to break him. The idea of mistreatment might be justified by some as part of his punishment, especially considering the severity of the crime he is accused of, but as a mother, it is deeply painful to witness this happening to my child. I am not just talking about the legal case, but the personal anguish of seeing him treated this way when he hasn't been proven guilty of anything. I can't ignore the irony of the situation. While others who are guilty of crime still have access to basic human rights, my son is left to suffer. This isn't just about the conditions of his imprisonment, it's about the treatment of him as a person, a human being who has not been convicted and who has won his first trial. How is it that a man who is presumed innocent until proven guilty can be subjected to such inhumane treatment, especially when other prisoners have more rights? The fact that he is being denied communication with his family, access to basic correspondence, and even the ability to maintain some semblance of connection with the outside world is a violation of his rights. This situation is even more upsetting when I think about the emotional toll it's taking on me as a mother. When I saw Melly's statement in which he described the mistreatment he's experiencing and how he feels scared for his life, it broke my heart. As a mother, how could I not feel utterly devastated by this? My son, who is still legally innocent, is being treated as if he has already been convicted. The fear and helplessness in his voice when he talks about the way he's being treated inside that jail are heartbreaking. No one should have to endure that kind of treatment, especially when they haven't been found guilty of anything. Jamie King, a supporter of Melly's case, has openly expressed her heartbreak upon hearing her son's account. She believes that the treatment he's receiving in jail is a violation of his human rights and that no one, regardless of the accusations against them, should be subjected to this kind of punishment before a trial is even concluded. She has stated that she is heartbroken to see her son being treated like an animal, stripped of his dignity and rights while awaiting trial. Ultimately, the way my son is being treated is not just a matter of legal debate or punishment. It's about humanity, fairness, and the rights that every person, regardless of their situation, should retain. As a mother, it's unbearable to witness this injustice. While many people may feel justified in supporting harsh treatment because of the crime he's accused of, we must remember that every individual deserves to be treated with dignity and respect until proven guilty. The emotional toll on me and my family is immense, and I pray that one day my son will be granted the fair treatment he deserves. How did that make you feel? It's heartbreaking, and it made me feel completely powerless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules, and I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too. But this is when the feds would create a 6-page evidence file explaining to the judge the reasons why Ynw Melly should not be released from jail. You tell me if you would. Release them, starting with the most important new piece of evidence, which ends up revealing what Melly's motive was. Ynw Melly was very close friends with King Val leading into his arrest, as recently AR Gold Block member who was friends with King Val shared a secret that Ynw Melly told King Val as. Melly was asking V for advice on how to handle a situation when your two best friends are coming after you for financial gain. Did V really tell you that Melly told him that he was two friends? He ain't come out and say, like, we got into an argument, and so you know if you know when people could say something without saying it. And so he told me, like, once I posted what I posted, he and was mad at me, bro. Why you put there, bro, out the bam? I'm like, you S up here, like, you know the love we got, you do this for us, but you going to trust that his two friends, and he said, was trying to extort him. And so I'm like, if they was trying to extort him, then why are you still around him as allegedly sack chaser? And Juvie were going after Melly for financial gain. They were both assuming that the IW Group in Business LLC was a 25% split 4 ways, but Melly and Borland didn't want to split the money with two people that aren't doing shows and selling merch. So if you're familiar with King Von's past and how he handled situations, you can likely guess the advice that he gave Ynw Melly. But then when you pair this evidence, what was found with Melly's cell phone, this is where it gets bad, where he sent a text message hours after the crime admitting to it. The PZ Gambino account asked him if he was okay, and his response was, I did that, and he placed a smiley face emoji, and the next message from 10/26/2018 at 16:02 from Eastern Standard Time. The Wind of the EM account says, what after that? SHHHH, but also found on Melly's phone was a saved video from somebody's Facebook Live showing Ynw Melly and Borland's reaction to the crime only 6 hours after it went down, where Ynw Melly and Borland were seen dancing in a parking lot on Facebook Live claps. Melly still turned regardless away after this early morning. He's still out, CH being very positive, turn still hey, but do still turn regardless of what happened, you already know, showing not even an ounce of sadness for their two best friends passing away, knowing how Melly handled it emotionally. The lead prosecutor then dove deep into the physical evidence of the crime, such as the Jeep that they were driving in, as during the original trial, Sergeant Williams revealed there is no way this could have been a driving number. She said 17 outside the car. How many rounds were inside of the car? 3. And can you exclude the for Mr. Williams and Mr. Thomas is coming from outside the car? Yes, from the past. The driver's side back seat. As to Christopher Thomas, where did that driver's side back seat? Is it possible for there to have been two inside that car? No, why not? There is no time assignment, which is to determine if this is a drive, and my determination was that this is not a drive BIC, and it's based upon this picture here, which is a very good picture to describe it. All of these rounds are completed, with one being completed at a stationary position. When all but one of these rounds are completed, there is one round that involves some movement, at which point that actually moves around Site L to create the small bit of a that you see there. There is a lot of information in that, so let's break it down a little bit. You mentioned that the crime must have occurred inside the Jeep they were driving in, so I'm going to zoom in on the scene with Williams to reveal who was sitting there. I'm his mother, so I'm Christopher Tom. Did you see who got into the Utans, who got into that JRG? If so, do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep? If so, which seat did he get in? The back seat on the right side? If so, do you recognize the person who got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side? If so, who is that person? Jam and Jamal, is that defendant Jamal Demons? Yes, ma, I am. According to the evidence files being presented, it was reported that Ynw Melly's mother appeared to be in a state of fear, much like she had been for Ynw Melly during the initial trial. When Melly was granted a mistrial, his attorneys asked that he be released from jail on bond or even placed under house arrest, but the judge would immediately deny this request and state that Melly must return to jail, which caused his mother to burst into music. I apologize, this even attracted the attention of rappers in the industry. Rap OG Boy would talk about the stress that Jimmy King has been going through. Alright, I met his mother while he was in, and she was real, bro. I heard that she was stressed out, and I reached out to him because I'm real. I met his mother, and she's a lovely woman, bro. I appreciate it because it makes me think of what my mother was going to do, dude. However, Ynw Melly's attorney successfully presented. In the ongoing legal battle surrounding Ynw Melly, a compelling argument is being made to the judge regarding the prolonged detention of the rapper, asserting that it is unfair to keep him in jail for such an extended period without trial. Despite the complexities of the case and the various legal maneuvers at play, the defense argues that the current conditions are unjust and demand urgent reconsideration. With a retrial scheduled for September 2025, it has become increasingly clear that the delay in bringing the case to court has severely impacted Melly's life, particularly his well-being in detention. Jamie King, a spokesperson for Ynw Melly, recently addressed the media outside the courthouse, offering an update on the status of the case. "Melly, he's free, he's coming home, guys. Just be patient," King said. According to the latest developments, the judge has set a new trial date for September 10, 2025, which marks yet another postponement in what has already been a prolonged and contentious process. At this stage, King and other supporters have argued that it would be more appropriate for the case to be dismissed altogether as the delays continue to mount. Furthermore, it has been reported that Melly's current conditions in jail are dire. He still lacks access to basic privileges such as phone calls, visitation, or any form of contact with the outside world. Adding to the isolation, Melly is reportedly housed in a facility with no other inmates, creating a sense of extreme seclusion. His movements are restricted, with multiple guards accompanying him whenever he is relocated, adding to the discomfort of an already tense situation. The conditions surrounding his detention have raised serious concerns about the fairness of the process, with many questioning whether it is just to continue holding him under these circumstances while the legal process drags on. The defense's concerns are further amplified by the fact that the case against Melly is far from straightforward. The new judge overseeing the case has been hearing arguments from Melly's legal team regarding his bond release, but the situation is complicated by the numerous moving parts involved in the retrial. Given the complexity and potential for further delays, the defense team believes that it is likely the case will face additional setbacks before it reaches trial. The question of bond release is now a focal point in the ongoing legal proceedings as the defense pushes for Melly's release on bond while awaiting the eventual retrial. Adding another layer of complexity to the case is the recent arrest of Melly's co-defendant, Ynw Borland. Borland, who was a significant figure in the legal proceedings, was arrested on a warrant related to witness tampering. The warrant, which was obtained by the LA Crime Network, stems from a series of events that have raised doubts about the integrity of the legal process. The witness tampering charge, which was officially filed on April 10, 2023 and runs through July 22, 2023, involves an alleged attempt to influence the testimony of a key individual in the case. The arrest of Borland could have significant implications for Melly's case, as it raises questions about the credibility of the evidence and the conduct of those involved in the legal process. The situation is further complicated by the fact that Borland's arrest may delay Melly's release. As the defense has pointed out, the prosecution's desire to expedite the case has created a chaotic environment in which Melly's rights and well-being have been compromised. The prosecution's efforts to push the case toward a swift resolution have, in effect, contributed to the harsh conditions in which Melly finds himself. While the prosecutors may be eager to bring the case to a close, the defense argues that fairness and justice demand a more measured approach. Ultimately, the defense's position is clear. It is unfair to continue holding Melly in jail for such an extended period under such harsh conditions, especially when the trial is still years away. They contend that the repeated delays, the arrest of key figures like Borland, and the ongoing uncertainty surrounding the legal process all contribute to an environment that is neither just nor reasonable. The call for Melly's release on bond, or at the very least a reconsideration of his detention conditions, reflects the growing frustration with the drawn-out legal proceedings and the belief that justice should be served in a timely and fair manner. After Henry, also known as Borton, and others engaged in unlawful and knowingly misleading conduct toward another person with the intent to cause or induce them to withhold testimony, the warrant is still pending. The warrant's dates are significant because jury selection for Melly began in mid-April, and on July 22nd, a judge declared a mistrial. On that same day, the warrant alleges that Borton tampered with the witness when the feds raided the band's home and discovered bizarre documents packed into a suitcase where Ynw Borland was. Here are pictures of purported notes found during the Ynw band's home raid last week, where Borland drew out on paper a description of every juror and what they looked like, including their potential names and where they were sitting. This is a very serious matter, so let's be honest, this is sloppy Portland. How are you going to have the juror's notebook in your home? Goddamn, holy shit, you understand? Come on, brother. It's like doing a surveillance tape and playing the surveillance tape on your DVD player or something. Hey, thanks, brother. This can't be your crib because Melly was given a life sentence. The jurors are typically hidden and not permitted to be seen on camera because Borton could have given this piece of paper to some serious street members to go exact revenge for Ynw Melly. However, when you combine this with the recent accusations Melly and Borland are facing, this is probably going to cause a problem for Ynw Melly. The state has filed 6 new charges against Demons and 2 other people who were allegedly involved. These charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Some of these charges are related to the massive error made by Borland, where Juvie's father would reveal how Melly and Borland were witness tampering and even the code words they used to prevent Melly's ex-girlfriend from testifying against him during the initial trial. He was not allowed to use the phone, but he was passing notes to people, and then this person called this person, and that person said to me that they were going to extreme measures to try to cover up or persuade people not to testify like Mariah's mom. They used cold words like Rihanna and said Rocky's baby mom and